And then, can you wait a sec? Because I want to go to live for this one. Wait a sec.
Anyway, we can start preparing for the next Yami-san, can you turn off the screen sharing? Screen sharing?
I think it should be okay now. Go ahead.
You always should. So this is Qualia structure projects meeting. So this is projects meeting. So this is overhang. So that today projects meeting. So this is we have presentation from Japan Women's University. So when you're ready, please start.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Kanazawa at Japan Women's University. I'm very glad to join this research group. I'm looking forward to discuss about Qualia at the next team meeting. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself shortly. I studied experimental psychology and primatology. After getting a PhD, I wrote some Japanese books about experimental psychology and philosophy of mind. Then I changed the research subject from monkeys to human infants because methodology is very similar. In this research project, I planned two kinds of research. First, I will measure the brain activity of awake infants using functional MRI. Now I'm setting up the circumstances to conduct infant MRI study. The connection between V1 and MT is a research main target. The second is a philosophical dialogue in children at Japanese Science Museum. Will be conducted cooperating with Yamaguchi-san, PI of lab in the museum research section, and Kono-san, organizer of philosophical dialogue. Okay, this is how to measure infant perception. The target and non-target are presented side by side in the monitor, and the infant's behavior is recorded by the CCD camera under the monitor. And the target and the non-target stimuli are presented with sound. And infant look at this side, right side. The first trial finished. If the looking time to each stimulus was significantly different, infant can discriminate it. Using this procedure, we examine infants' various perception. Previous studies showed that many visual abilities develop during half year of the life, like this. This means that a perceptual world of 7 or 8 months olds are very similar to adults' one. Otherwise, infants under 5 months are totally different from infants over 6 months. I'd like to explain our 4 experiments which demonstrate young infants under 5 or 6 months can see what we adults cannot see. Surface glossiness, backward masking, surround suppression, and it usually feature misbinding of motion and color. Okay? First is perception of grossness. These are the identical pots under different light fields, but these areas are a little different. We are very hard to detect these differences. We ignore the light fields to perceive the grossness. But under 4-month-old infants can detect these differences. We call it a pre-constancy vision. This study was conducted by Yan-san, first author, and Motoyoshi-san, last author. He is co-member of Qualia structure, this research project. In this experiment, we presented the changing images and no changing images, side by side. Generally, infants prefer to look at the changing image. So we calculated infants looking behavior to see the image change. We prepared 2 different tasks. One is changing the highlight position. Right, left, slightly change. And the second is highlight appearance. Disappear, appear, disappear, appear. We examined whether infant can detect highlight position change and highlight appearance. This is the result. In this graph, x-axis represents a month of age and y-axis represents a looking time ratio to the target. As you can see, only 7 to 8 months old infant can detect the highlight appearance, but only 3 to 4 months old infants can detect the highlight position change. These results suggest that the perception of grossness was acquired by over 7 months olds. Okay, the second is backward masking in infants. Recurrent processing was examined by using backward masking. We used OSM, object substitution masking, that is thought to occur by recurrent processing. In OSM, a target surrounded by the 4-dot mask disappeared, but 4-dot mask remained. In this case, target not be able to perceived. While the target and the 4-dot mask disappeared simultaneously, target can be perceived. We used face as a target because infants prefer to look at the face. We measured infants looking time for a face in the masked condition and unmasked condition. In unmasked condition, 4-dot mask disappeared simultaneously. We predict infants looking time would be longer because infants can see the face. In masked condition, 4-dot mask remains. Looking time would be shorter than unmasked condition because infants cannot see the face. Results showed that looking time was longer in unmasked condition only in 7 to 8 months. This indicates that OSM, object substitution masking, occur only in 7 to 8 months. Moreover, to test the masking effect in younger infants, we conducted another experiment. We predicted that under 6 months infant could perceive the face even in masked condition. In this experiment, we compare no face condition and masked condition. If masking does not occur, looking time would be longer because infant can see the face. Results showed that looking time was longer in masked condition only in 7 to 6 months olds. These results suggest that OSM is ineffective for 3 to 6 months olds. This means younger infant can perceive the face that older infant and adult cannot see. These results suggest that this result could be explained by the hypothesis that Recurrent processing is immature in infants younger than 6 months. The third one is sound suppression in motion. Larger size of motion is difficult to perceive compared to the smaller size. This phenomenon could be explained by the property of receptive field in visual neurons called surround suppression. To examine surround suppression for infants, we tested motion direction discrimination for larger and smaller motion using familiarization method. We measured looking time to the novel direction for motion as a target. In this case, large size motion condition, leftward was a novel because rightward motion was used in familiarization phase. The results showed that in 7 to 8 months old infant, the performance was higher for the smaller than larger one. We observed surround suppression at 7 to 8 months old. However, 3 to 4 months old infants showed the opposite pattern. The performance was higher for the larger than smaller one. This means that younger infants don't have surround suppression. These results suggest that surround suppression is acquired at 6 months old. Okay. Fourth is illusory feature integration, called misbinding. Misbinding is a visual illusion in which two types of visual information are incorrectly integrated, in this case, motion and color. This stimulus figure showed that in the central field, red dot moves upward and green dot moves downward. In the peripheral field, on the other hand, each color dot moves in the opposite direction to the central. If misbinding occurs, all green dot moves downward and all red dot moves upward perceptually. This is illusion. In this experiment, we presented misbinding stimuli for infant as familiarization phase. After familiarization, we presented the coherence and segregation motion. If infant perceived misbinding same as adults, this is infant perceived coherent motion in misbinding, they would show the novelty preference for segregation. But if infants don't perceive the misbinding, they should look at the coherence longer. This is the looking time of each infant's age group in test phase. Infant aged over after 6 months old looked longer at the segregation than coherence. This means aged infants, older infants perceived misbinding in familiarization phase, same as adults. However, infants younger than 6 months looked longer to coherence motion than segregation. This means they perceive this movement correctly and physically. Okay? All four experiments demonstrated that infants under 6 months could see what we adults cannot see. For example, highlight position change, seeing face in masked condition, better performance for larger motion, and perceiving misbinding motion physically and correctly. Various kinds of perceptual modules like this emerge by 6 months old. Our perceptual world is constructed from these components. However, under 6 months old, infants could see what we adults cannot. It is pre-constancy stage, we'd like to say. And after 7 months, masking and suppression were acquired, and then infant can perceive the world in constancy. Our idea is similar to William James principle that is about infant subjective world as one great blooming buzzing confusion. After this description, James wrote about adult perceptual world as all sensation coalesced together into one and the same space. I think constancy is related to the buzzing confusion, and constancy is related to coalesced together. Based on this research, based on these ideas, I'd like to explore the infant perception using functional MRI. Okay, these are the collaborators, Masami Yamaguchi, the participants recruitment, Riku Umekawa, Shima Tsurumi, Yusuke Nakashima, they are collaborators in experimental design. And Takeo Watanabe and Yuka Sasaki will give technical advices for functional MRI. And we will conduct functional MRI study at Tamagawa University, collaborating with Tetsuya Matsuda-san. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'd like to take several questions from audience. If you have any question, please raise your hand. Sure. Does anybody has a question? Moribus-san, please start, please.
So, Kanazawa-san, thank you so much for interesting and exciting talks. Actually, I know you are in a previous study, but I cannot understand what will you do in the this Korea project. So what will you do in the fMRI experiment in this study? So what is your plan?
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to conduct motion perception, especially using surround suppression experiment. First, I'd like to use this stimuli, and I'd like to measure the brain activity of MT and V1 area in infant. This stimuli is explained by the surround suppression. This could be maybe related to the feedback process to from MT to V1 area. So I'd like to measure the brain activity in infant using this stimuli first.
Do you think for awake infants, so fMRI is feasible? So have you ever conducted some previous research so far?
Oh, okay. This is a very good question. Folks, it's very difficult. I know, it's very difficult to keep infant still in the scanner. Yeah. But recently, some lab especially in US, published infant MRI study. And especially recently, methodology and how to measure how to keep infant still in the scanner. Various method is presented. So based on this, based on this paper, I try. Okay, Shuma, now attending this. If you have some suggestion about infant to keep infant still in the scanner, Shuma Tsurumi, attending the collaborator.
Hi.
Okay.
Yeah. So So I think there's already told you that to keep in the infants in a fMRI scanner is very difficult, I think. But I think the US researchers published a lot of papers. So, for example, the Cameron Harris, and also I'm contacting him to do the fMRI research. So, and also he gives some advices in do the infant fMRI. So, I think we can do the fMRI.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you.
looking forward to speak.
So, I'm sorry. Thank
Great.
you. Thank you. Mm.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Maybe if no one, then I'll ask question.
Please.
So this is the kind of the discussion that I and Moriguchi-san as well as Saji-san in PI of this Qualia structure are discussing quite a lot about similarity experiments in young infant, children, and also we are trying to go to young infant, and ideally babies. But Mori-san think it's impossible. And with your idea of this pre-constancy or constancy kind of thing, would you have any kind of insight into this Qualia structure paradigm, which is which we tend to often think about the structure as an things that we perceive and its relation to others. So by this constancy or pre-constancy, what do you mean by that from the kind of concept of the structure? Are they less interacting or synthesizing what you are saying? In general, it sounds like the interaction from top down, let's say from V5 to V1, or some kind of constancy that overrides the bottom-up input is less there. And but does it mean or does it predict some kind of objects to become more similar or less similar, or does it imply some kind of ability to make judgment of the similarity or sameness or difference?
Okay, I think constancy state, in order to construct a constancy stage, feedback process is very important. So feedback from the empty area or in frontal area, but is needed to make a constant visual world. I think Qualia is related to the constancy stage. So I'd like to measure this kind of feedback process in using functional MRI. So,
I see. Okay. Yeah, just to push you further, if you say that, then that might indirectly, kind of imply that infants or babies below 6 months are potentially, processing all these things in a non-conscious manner, like what Minami-san showed in this, under the CFS or something like that, because of we don't have a good subjective report methodology so far. All these eye movements and so on, or looking time, maybe the reflection of some kind of unconscious processing, some mean reviewer or philosopher might say, right? Is there any kind of a good way or counter argument against this?
I think it's very difficult to discriminate. It's difficult to know that process is conscious or unconscious. I just measuring behavior is only our behavioral study method. So, but using functional MRI, brain network we can measure. So, for example, seeing something. I think threshold is very important. In infant study, many previous studies showed that various kinds of threshold is measured and presented. So, for example, stimuli under threshold is presented to the infant, but the brain activity is in some case we can measure the brain activity, but other case we cannot detect. So using stimulus degree calibrate. So and I'd like to measure the brain activity, especially V1, not only V1 and all network, for example, frontal and parietal. So this is my methodological way.
Okay.
Okay. We still have a bit time. Does anybody have questions or comment? Okay. Can I? So if nobody has comments, maybe this might be a very naive question. So I think that you discussed surface glossiness and backward basking and stuff from the viewpoint of the, I would say, the perception of constancy. Constancy. So
Yes.
such kind of relationship between the different perceptual phenomena is very interesting to me. And also the, how to say, so I have been working on the kind of computational model for the language acquisition, like word discovery and lexical acquisition and so on. So that actually the 8 months and 9 months, around that time period is a very important time for word discovery. And at that stage, at that how say point, so yes, I'm very much interested in the kind of the relationship between this kind of how to say developmental process with other modality and other cognitive capabilities. So do you have any idea or hypothesis this kind of how to say understanding of constancy how to say relates to other cognitive capabilities?
Okay. In this presentation, I showed only visual study, but I think after constancy stage, infant acquired some kind of concept of object. Object can touch, can if the click can hearing. So I think after constancy stage, sensation all combined and become one object, as William James said. They say all sensation coalesce together in one and the same space in this textbook. So I think after constancy stage, infant acquired multimodal object. They can grasp, they can touch the. This is my hypothesis. So.
Thank you very much. Yeah, actually, while I listened to your talk, so I noticed some very interdisciplinary connection with Suzuki-san's talk. And actually, the semiosis and the semiosis one, how to say, semiosis is a triangular relationship between sign and object and interpretant, and actually without a kind of concept of object, so semiosis may not be able to emerge. So if it's very much related to consciousness, so
I think so.
constancy will be a very crucial concept, I think.
I agree. I agree. I'm very interested and excited to hear his talk. Semiosis is very important concept.
Thank you very much. So maybe we have 1 minute. So if anybody has one more question, I can take. So if anybody doesn't have, Tsuchiya-san, shall we wrap up?
Yes, but before that, so thank you all the speakers, especially for Kanazawa-san for this YouTube public talk, and next time is gonna be from here on all the Kobahan Zoom will be private and not on YouTube. However, on once we start getting to June, we start to do this kind of Zoom session sometimes, in a random time for the updates of the project that would be relevant or potentially interesting to everybody. And as our first one, we plan to do the first session in June 10th. It's gonna be Oizumi-san and Asano-san, and that's only for Zoom. And then on 12th, Yamada-san and also Moriguchi-san are going to talk about their similarity studies on this time probably Zoom. So we'll be kind of trying to engage the conversation between the Kobohan and the PIs as the project proceeds. So, and I will give you the announcement later on. That's it. Thank you very much, and thanks for sharing, Taniguchi-san. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
So, then I'll stop the YouTube first. Okay, YouTube is now stopped.